Hi everyone, Anita back again. So I'm going to cover my first topic. I wasn't necessarily planning on doing it today, but I thought it might just be easier to have one of these topics down, one that I've, had on my heart and my mind actually probably my whole life. So the first topic that I wanted to kind of cover is my weight loss journey. This is a big one. This is like one of my most vulnerable topics because it is so personal and it's so personal, and about just like everything that my journey has kind of looked like. Again, I apologize since this is my first one. I'm not very good at I'm not known for my my video skills, that's for sure, being in front of the camera, like I've said before. But I'll start from the beginning. So, it's in my family. Not that, necessarily predicts what each person should because it's in our family, but we have people in our family who have been able to stay lean with hard work and whatever. So it is in my family. I personally noticed, that I was having, struggles with weight loss when I was probably about, like 6 or 7. And then for me, it was like, once I knew that, that set me apart from other kids, in the community I grew up in, that was kind of what almost made it worse. Like, knowing that I was set apart from other people because of something. I think if I wouldn't have realized or wouldn't have known that, but maybe just would have like grown out of it once I got into sports or whatever. But then knowing that piece for whatever reason, made it the forbidden fruit, I guess, so to speak, was like having things that maybe weren't healthy, because the more I learned about it. Anyway, not here to try and give myself excuses either, but just as a kid, I know that on my psyche, that was really tough. And then I think as I grew up a little bit, like I said, when I was like probably 7 or 8, I had who I thought was a friend of mine start chanting Thunder Thighs. I was climbing up one of those old metal slides during recess in like 1st or 2nd grade. And it was something like that. It might have been more like 2nd grade, but and someone who was close to me, or I thought, got a few kids to start chanting Thunder Thighs as I was walking up the slide. And I was like, I don't know, what are they saying? And I was asking one of my friends, I can't remember who it was, but it's like, what did they say? And I slid down and they were looking at me while they were chanting it. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So I went home and I had asked my older sisters what Thunder Thighs meant. And my one older sister at the time was probably 15, maybe 14 or 15. And she told me what it was. And then she asked why I was asking. And this was my sister Janelle, who also struggled with a lot of, weight concerns and from that aspect as well. So she, of course, wanted to know because the big sister and her was not probably super impressed that I would even know that at like 7 years old. So anyway, she told me what it was. And then I asked the girl the next day why she would call me that. And she said, "You're the fattest girl in school." And that was really kind of an eye-opener and tough for me. I remember spending a lot of time crying in the bathroom that day. And I, of course, like, that made it a lot. So, from a few aspects, like one was like, I was real cognizant of what my weight was at that point. And then, another aspect of, like being like singled out and bullied, because at that point it felt like once that elephant in the room was like given a name, I was bullied pretty relentlessly, and I think most kids were, so I try not to make that bullying about me, but it was like I didn't have a super easy home life at the time. And then I was going to school and getting bullied, and then having to go home and feel kind of trapped. Like it all was a tough road, which, mind you, I think it's given me a lot of who I am today, and a lot of that compassion and caring for the most part. Being able to advocate for myself, even when people don't like it and they think that it's that advocating for myself somehow means something terrible for them, because I advocate for my family's needs and my needs and whatever, and that is inconvenient for some people, but it's given me that, and I think that is more, I personally think it's more about strength. So anyway, that aside, as I got older, I joined sports, because I would watch my friends, like, at the end of the school year in like 5th and 6th grade, where they might have been a little chubbier, and then next summer they came back and they were super lean because they were outside playing and doing stuff. And I was outside playing and doing stuff. Like, I grew up on a big lake called Lake of the Woods. And we'd be fishing and swimming and running around. My neighbors had 6 daughters, and so we were constantly playing with them, and up and down the streets, and bicycling and biking by ourselves to the town pool. I grew up in a small town, but biking by ourselves to the pool and whatever. And always busy, but like I would notice people come back and they looked thinner. I was really, obviously paid a lot of attention to it. But they looked thinner, and then I did not. And I was like, I'm failing, like that's the feeling, is I'm failing at being aesthetically pleasing to people. And I was a little bit of a turkey too. I mean, so I was like, a lot of sass and a lot of, what. And so, it kind of made me a little rough around the edges at school. And then, of course, more teasing, because you are a little heavier and you are a little sassier, and that kind of, and people pick you out. So I grew a pretty thick skin and a thick coating along with that, figuratively and actually. So anyway, so there was that. So then getting into when I got to be about 20, I was single, newly single, and I decided that I wanted to work on my fitness to be skinny. That was my goal, was I want to be skinny. So, or at least not skinny, but I was like well over 200 pounds, and I wanted to be under 200 pounds. Like, that has always been, for whatever reason, the goal, because when I graduated from high school, I was 210 pounds. But that's the last time I was 210 pounds, like, or below. So, like, just to be super vulnerable, like, that's what it was. And that, I've always made, certainly a decent dating life for myself. And I've dated some really wonderful people, nice, successful, attractive people, like, it wasn't even about that, but it was just that for whatever reason, I felt like to have value, certain people, that your value goes up when the size on your jeans goes down. And why I wanted to impress or show those people that I had value is beyond me, because, to be honest, I couldn't care less. Those people now are the last people I even care about, to be honest. But when they'd say, oh, you really need to lose some weight or whatever, I was like, oh God, I got to lose weight so that they think that I'm worth something, because deep down inside, I want everyone to think that I'm worth something. And in the last couple years, I've dropped that feeling. I'm over it. Okay. Like, You know, I want people to like me for their comfort. You know, I want them to be comfortable around me, but if they don't, it has nothing to do with me, and I've learned that. Anyway, so besides that, then I wanted to get lean when I was like 20 or under 200 pounds anyway. And I'm about, at the time I was like 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there. And I've shrunk about an inch since then, but that's a topic for another one. Anyway, so I started working out quite a bit, twice a day. I was working for a company called Allianz, where I got like a discount on a gym membership. So I worked out, actually at the stadium where, a place called Lifetime Fitness, which was in the stadium where the Timberwolves played. So I thought it was so cool because the Timberwolves cheerleaders worked out right where the Pilates machine was, like next to it in the downstairs of that gym. And so I thought it was so cool. So I'd work out and I would creepily watch these cheerleaders because that was one thing I was never really, it wasn't really something that I got the opportunity to do, but it was something that I always wanted to do. That's kind of my jam, but I was too heavy, and that's not what they look for in cheerleading. Imagine that. So I would watch them, and that was like kind of my pastime. Like I knew when they worked out, because they worked out in the evenings. And I knew that it was at like 5:30 and I got done with work at 5. So it just worked out that on my way home, and at the time I would take a bus to commute to, our office, and I lived, downtown, well, like essentially downtown Minneapolis, like a couple blocks outside of the zone. So I would go and watch the cheerleaders and do my stair climber. And so in the end, I ended up working out. It was like 4 months worth, of fitness, like, and watching what I was eating and whatever. 4 months worth of working out from like January to April. And I was doing stair climber I'd say I worked out solid for about an hour, hour and a half a day between the two workouts. Before work, I would go. After work, I would go again. So I was really dedicated, like the kind of time I don't necessarily have anymore. It happened since then. And then I was also like, at the time Atkins was really big, but I was like, not so much following Atkins as much as I was like just watching like the level of sugars and things that I was eating. And then I lost about 50 pounds. So I was doing kind of what I would have considered, kind of like South Beach diety kind of thing. So it was more like lean meats and veggies. And then I didn't have any treats. I saved everything that I thought was a splurge on going out drinking because I, at the time, like me and my friends were 3 nights a week, probably at a place called Liquor Lyle's in uptown Minneapolis. And yeah, it was like a lot of alcohol was kind of that was like my splurge of the week. So I wouldn't have treats. I wouldn't have like sugar or whatever, big steaks or whatever. That wasn't my jam. So anyway, so I lost 50 pounds and I was looking and feeling really good. Then stopped that after 4 months. It just wasn't sustainable to me to work out, twice a day, 5 days a week. 4 to 5 days a week, and then also be eating super careful and drinking like I was. It just, none of it really made a ton of sense, like for long term. So then I went on and gained a bunch of weight, and ended up having meeting my husband, and stopped drinking, which alone was like good for me. And then had my daughter, we had our first daughter like 5 years after we met, and I had her prematurely. And one of the reasons why was my weight And I knew at that point I needed to get it under control. So I had 2 sisters who had undergone gastric bypass. And so I looked into it. My physician, who I am very close with and has been my primary for many years, we decided that it was probably a good option for me. So in 2013, after our daughter was born, like 6 months later, I underwent gastric bypass, which I have never really told anyone, or not that many people know that about me. And I've always kept it kind of close to the chest because I always felt like it was, I've heard people say that it's like the easy way out or whatever. I can tell you right now, it is not the easy way out. And if I could reverse it, I would, to be honest, at this point. Like, there was a couple of years where I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do this sooner? And now I've had some fallout, like health concerns because of it. Like pretty intense ones that I wish I could just reverse it and be done with that phase of my life. I didn't lose as much as I thought I was going to because it is hard work, and I clearly didn't want to necessarily do as much of the hard work. At the time I was trying, but it just wasn't my jam apparently. Anyway, excuses under the sun, like I've got so many, but in the end, just I clearly wasn't like doing the hard work. Anyway, so then my weight started to creep up. And then I had another daughter who is now almost 6. She's 5.5. But anyway, I decided last year in 2 years ago, 2019, my husband and I started to do keto. So we did that, and that is not sustainable for, definitely not for us. I would say the majority of people, it is unsustainable. Plus I'm not as big of a meat eater. I am more of a, like I'm okay with like fish and stuff, but, there is something about who I am that is like not necessarily as interested in meat for a variety of reasons, for, ethical reasons, for texture reasons. Like there's just, meat isn't necessarily like something that I'm always into. Like occasionally I am, and but I anyway, so that's not sustainable for me. Like I could eat eggs all day long, but I'm just like, for whatever reason, not into that texture of like most meats. Anyway, so that wasn't sustainable. I was on it for a little bit, lost a little bit of weight. It came right back on because that's what it does. When you change your lifestyle in a way that is unsustainable, it's you're at high risk for gaining it all back and then some. So then I recently, now this is 18 minutes into this, and I'm finally getting into why, like this more have been like a history of Anita and why her waistline is as many inches as it is. But in January of this year, or January of 2020 rather, I went to see Oprah Winfrey live in at the XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota, with my 2 sisters. Angie and Carla. And so we went to that, and it was sponsored by WW, which is the new version of what Weight Watchers used to be. I used to like Weight Watchers. I've been to a couple meetings, to be honest. I'm not about meetings. I'm just not about that life. It was for old ladies. It was not my jam. I said what I said. I'm sorry, but it just wasn't my jam. And Oprah was talking about it. I'm the person who does really love Oprah. I know not, everybody does, but I do. I was like, gosh. And I know she's not like ultra thin. She's always struggled with her weight. And I've always likened myself to her in a way that, in that way where I feel like just up and down and doing whatever the fad is and whatever. But I know she's done WW for a long time. and at least has been able to maintain a healthier weight, maybe not healthiest weight. Because I would say she's still probably 220 pounds or something. That's my guess. I don't really know. If anyone knows, drop it down below, because I'm sure that it's not common knowledge. But I'd say that's probably where she is. She's probably like 5'8" and 220 pounds or something. Which for her, that maybe is just like where she wants to land. And that's okay. I don't really care where anyone else wants to land. But I thought, well, I'll try it again. So I got this like discount to do it. And then 2020 pandemic happened, and I just was like, whatever. So I didn't do it, but I started in January of 2021. I have to say, I'm so impressed with it. I try not to go out and shout, services, on the rooftops when I don't know, I haven't done them long enough, or I don't quite understand it. But I will say, I don't understand how exactly it works, and I'll do more research. But I will say that it has been a game changer for both me and my husband. So I started doing it, and then he started doing keto. This is all January 3rd of 2021. So he went back to doing keto, and I decided to be on Weight Watchers. So 2 weeks in, I'm sitting there, and I had a couple of points, because they work on a point system. Each food is pointed differently based on macros, is how they figure out the point. So like the fat and calories and all that kind of figured in. So amounts of fiber, whatever. Anyway, so I had a couple of points left, and I was eating 2 Twizzlers, because Twizzlers are 1 point a piece. And at the time I was getting like 34 points to use in a day. So at the end of the day, I had 2 points left, and I was like, I'm going to have a couple of Twizzlers because I can. So I was eating Twizzlers, and he was eating a plate full of meat and cheese. And he's like, how are you? He goes, oh, so you're off your diet, or he said something to that effect. And I was like, no, this is part of it. And the first week I lost like 9 pounds, water weight, whatever. But still, I lost 9 pounds in the first week, and which is atypical. I think most people lose like 5 in the first week. But anyway, so I had lost that. And then the second week I lost a couple pounds. And ever since then, it's been anywhere from half a pound to 2 pounds in a week is the most, that I've really lost. And if anyone's interested in looking at what my losses look like, because you weigh in every week, I'd gladly show you. So just, let me know, drop it down below or whatever, and then with your email, and I can just share it with you, or maybe I'll put it down below too. Anyway, but it's been sustainable, and it's been I don't want to say easy, because it's a challenge. You lose it slow. And there are weeks when I have gained and weeks when I haven't lost, even after working out like 4 days a week, and I'm going, what is happening? But if you stick with it, it's going to be a fairly long process, unless you're really, really strict. But that's not sustainable for me. I like to eat. I like to have wine. I like to not have anything off limits. Like I'm not about that. And in this diet, things aren't off limits. So, anyway, so it's nice because I can have pizza. I just have to adjust and make my own crust a certain way, but it's still really good. I have to do a lot of swap outs. Like my sour cream is now plain fat-free Greek yogurt instead of actual sour cream. Like my cheese, like I'm using mostly mozzarella because it's like a leaner or a less pointed food, like cheese for whatever reason. So anyway, so there's swaps that I'm making, and some days I'm like, no, I'm gonna have 2 ounces of smoked Gouda because I want it, and I can have it. I just have to the rest of the days eat things that are like free points, like vegetables and lean meats and salads, like those on the plan that I'm on, which is called the Blue Plan. You don't even have to really account for those. I mean, obviously they're still caloric, so you need to not like gorge in them, but if those make up like the bulk of your meal and then you just add in a little cheese or whatever, you can still manage it really easily. And it takes a little learning. I will do more in-depth videos on what I eat in a day, like what that looks like in general. It's like this morning I had Quaker fruit blueberry instant oatmeal with fresh blueberries and a banana diced into it. I mean, that was at 9:30. I will be full until noon, and then I'll have I think I have like egg salad, and so I'm gonna have an egg salad sandwich with lettuce, and then something on the side. I don't know what yet. Like I might have like 5 chips or something for 3 points or whatever. Anyway, and then for dinner, like we had tater tot hot dish the other day. I just cooked the tater tots on the side, and then added in however many, because those were the most pointed things in the meal, and then just added like 6 in instead of having like 12 like I normally would. So it really is just about balance, making simple swaps, simple adjustments. And as of my weigh-in day is on Saturday, and as of last Saturday, so I started January 3rd. It is now, today's date is April 21st, 2021. So I've only been on it for just, not quite a full 4 months. And, yeah, and I have lost, over, let's see, January, February, March, April, just over 4 months, sorry. And I have lost a little over 25 pounds. It's like 26-ish, 25, 26. So creeping up on 30 pounds, which is pretty cool. Anyway, so if anyone has any questions about it, or if you want, I can send you a link for, I think there's a thing where I can send a link for like a free month or whatever if you want to try it. But anyway, so yeah, so it's worked for me. There's a lot of things that haven't worked for me. This plan, I know there's a bunch of people who don't work out. I do work out. I walk probably 50 to 70,000 steps a week. But I wouldn't have to. Like, the idea is that as long as you walk 3,000 steps a day, which is 1.5 miles, you're at the minimum. You know, as long as you stay within your points, you should still lose just by walking 1.5 miles a day. And that you do that usually just if you work outside the home, you probably do it pretty easily. I don't, but I still, I work out on the treadmill. I walk around my house when the weather is like cold. I dance in my kitchen. I put on like trap music, like 90s hip hop, and dance. And you'd be surprised if you get one of these little puppies, or some kind of tracker. You'd be surprised at what it takes to get your heart rate up enough to be able to burn. So I have like dance parties with my kids at night. We turn on like YouTube, you know, kid dance songs. Our current favorite is Zootopia, the Try Everything by Shakira. The girls love it. And then a song called It's Raining Tacos. It's awful music, but I'm moving and my heart rate is up. So it's actually not bad. Anyway, so, and then now my husband is doing it too, and he's lost over 30 pounds. He's had weeks where he's just completely fallen off and has gained 2 back, and then he gets back on it. And it's easy. So like if you have even a bad day or a bad week or whatever, it's not a big deal. You get back on it. And as long as you can go like, you know, 3 weeks at a time where you're managing your points successfully, because believe it or not, but we still have dessert. We still eat cheese. We still have pizza and like once a week and whatever. Like it, as long as you're making healthy swaps, it's actually pretty easy. anyway, so it's been good for us. My husband does work out a little bit, not a ton. But we both, like, we take our girls to the YMCA to go swimming, quite a bit. Like now, like we didn't have a membership for a while because of the pandemic, but we're just getting back to going now. We'll probably go monthly. Try and get out and get active. We both have more energy now. I have pretty significant back issues, and it still has been fairly easy to like just walk. And so the walking I've been able to increase. I've actually toyed around with jogging now because I've been able to increase my walking so much. Oh, and again, like I was saying, we live in Minnesota, so we have a lot of days that aren't good outdoor exercise days. So I've got that working against me where I don't really like working out outside because I like the temperature to be specific, and I'm awful first world problem girl that way, but I like to be comfortable. So I walk inside my house a lot, like in a circle around the main floor, which is so silly. Or I'll do housework and I'll set my thing to dance or whatever, because there's no housework tab, but I'll set it to dancing. And I'll dance around the house and clean and do what like do the little like pick up or whatever. And that has worked for me. There's so much opportunity for fitness that isn't fitness that goes by fast. If I'm watching one of my favorite shows, I will just step in place or jog in place or whatever. Literally, I watched the whole Bridgerton first series jogging in place. And so if you find a show that you really are into, put it in your brain. Like I do these like things I want to do, pair it with something I have to do, which is doing some kind of some level of workout. So even if I'm just stepping in place to get my steps up for the day, then I do that. Like if I have no interest in sweating that day, I will step in place, and that's what I do. And then I'm moving, and then those steps actually add up quite a bit. Anyway, so now I just do it without even thinking about it. So I'll have a show on and I will just start stepping in place or whatever. My sister was over a few weeks ago and I'm like, sorry, I probably look like a lunatic because I was like stepping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She's like, no, I don't care. She's like, you just look like someone motivated to get your steps in. So it's not that big of a deal, and it's easier to do than you think. I don't even think about it now. And I'm like stepping, like while I'm washing dishes, when I'm in the shower, when I'm putting on my makeup, when I'm, do whatever I'm doing, just try to step from side to side or march in place while I'm doing it. You'd be surprised at how easy it is to get at least your minimum 3,000 steps, let alone working your way up to a lot more. Anyway, so that's something that I've done. I also have a treadmill downstairs and a total gym, and I like those too. Like when I'm just in the mood to just really like jog or run or go really fast, or I want to get away from the kids, or like just not do it while the kids are here or whatever. Then I go downstairs. Our basement is like as cool as a meat locker, and so it's kind of nice to just like get down there. I can do, anyway, there's a lot I can do here, but even if you don't have a treadmill or a total gym or whatever, most of my steps are done just standing in place or whatever. Anyway, so I want to put that out there because that has been a game changer for me, to just have a light bulb go on and know that I could march in place or walk side to side while I'm watching a show or whatever. Anyway. I think that was it. So I don't know what else I wanted to talk about with that today, but if you're like on the fence or you're like kind of looking at something, give WW, which is Weight Watchers, I'll just call it WW, give it a try because they've changed. I don't like going to meetings, and so you can just do it online. There's two versions. One is just a regular version. One has 360. The 360 has like a live online community, which is not my jam. I have 360, but I've learned that I don't really care for it. I just need the actual system to do the points and I'd be fine. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. But if anyone has any questions about it, let me know. This video is long enough. But if there's specific questions you want me to touch on, I totally will. Just drop them below and yeah, and I can go through it. But part of this is I'm hoping to have just be kind of following me along on this journey now, so that I'm on. So 4 months in, down like 26 pounds. I will keep you updated, and I'll probably like once a month let you know like where I'm at and how that month has gone and whatever. But feel free to follow along. I'll share some before and after pictures too, but probably not on this episode since I'm kind of just getting started. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and be kind to one another.